So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me for today's CoolCare Masterclass, where today we'll be looking at appraisals and supervisions. So, as I'm sure you're all aware, CoolCare here is here to help make operating your care home easier, more efficient, and more profitable. Today, we're looking at the easier side of things, I would say, looking at appraisals and supervisions for our staff. So, using Zoom today, you are able to ask us questions during a session. You should be able to find a Q&A option on your Zoom window. And from there, you'll be able to ask us a question. Anything you think of at all as I'm going through, you can ask on there. And a member of our team will be on hand to answer any questions you've got, or I might answer it in the session myself if it relates to what we're looking at on there. But anything you think of, you can ask us. And of course, at the end of the session, once we've completed the masterclass, we'll leave the room open for another 5 minutes or so, just to answer any of the questions that people might have on anything else. So at the end of the session, feel free to stick around and answer any further questions you might have. Now, as I mentioned, what we'll look at today is our appraisals and supervision functions within CoolCare, looking at our staff side of things. So how we can use CoolCare to keep track of those and add them onto our staff members on there, how we can monitor them in different ways and report on those to see them in the system and get everything we might need out of them from there. There's actually everything relating to appraisal supervisions, how to use them and how to get the most out of them. So with that in mind, I'll swap over to my demo system. And just as a note, all the data I'm showing is just on my demo side of things, no actual data being used or for demonstration purposes. So just give me one moment and I'll get things moved over. And there we are. So appraisals and supervisions in CoolCare are used to, as you might guess, track annual appraisals, regular supervised sessions with your staff members. However often you'd have those, you can set up CoolCare to recognize when they should be done, how often the staff members should have them, and then you can add them onto staff members to keep on track with them. So there is one setting in the background that can affect how they work, which is how often you would have your appraisals and supervisions. You can customize that on your system to then make sure CoolCare recognizes when the staff members should be having them. And this setting can be found if you click your name in the top right corner under the system configuration. Now, only certain people may have access to this on your system, so it might be that not everyone can see this at a glance. But on this page, there are some kind of system-wide settings that affect all homes within your system on there. But under the staff tab, there's a little setting under here relating to there, the appraisals and supervisions. See the options there, see how long you would have between appraisals and how long you would have between supervised sessions. And you can set this up as any number of either months or weeks, so you can do it however you like on there. I think our system default goes to 12 months and 3 months for supervisions, but you can customize that however you like to say however often you'd have them. That can all be set up in here. And that just makes things a little bit easier when you're creating supervisions and appraisals to easily, the system will automatically recognize when the next one should be due based on what you've got set up in there. So again, for those that have access to it, you can start there with them. So in that case, let's actually see how we can add them onto a staff member. So on your staff records, on any staff member in CoolCare, you can go to your staff records and find your staff member. We will have the option to add in a supervision or appraisal for them. Just by going into the HR tab, you've got appraisals and supervisions under there. And this page will tell you about all the previous appraisals, supervisions a staff member has had, as well as when the next ones are due. So you can see in here, right at the top of the page, it tells you the next supervision, supervised session and appraisal date when they're due to be done for this staff member, as well as all the previous ones I've had. You can see underneath that in the list. So actually the list will be sorted in descending order. So it'll start with the earliest one they had at the top, going down the list from there, up to the most recent one down at the bottom. So you can easily see all the previous ones that a staff member has had and when they've had them. If you need to add on a new one for a staff member, you can go on this page and you can see the button there to insert a new one. So if I click that one there, it then brings up this box for me. So to create the appraisal or supervision, you essentially just need to fill out all the details of what's going on with it and what we might need to do. So first thing you choose is the type, which one we're doing, either supervision or appraisal, just to say what we're doing, which will then have a knock-on effect to say when the next one's due, working it out from the one we've completed. So that's, let's say, we'll default to supervised session, but you can change that to appraisal if you need to. Then it will ask you for the date complete, saying when this was done. and you can pop in your dates on there, as you can see, which could be today's date. You can backdate them, or you can even put them in ahead of time as well in the future. It's completely up to you on that. But I say it should have been done today. That will then also ask you to work out when the next appraisal or supervision is due. So, like I say, that works it out based on the settings in the background. So in my case, mine's set up to be done every 4 months for supervisions. So it's gone 4 months from today. The 4th of June is when their next supervision is due to be done. But if you do click on that box, you can actually overwrite that date if you would want to. So if you want to say, actually, I want to do it on a different day of the week, or want to do it the week after, or just change it around in there to override it, you can. I might say, actually, once we do that next supervision on the Friday, the 5th, on there instead of the 4th, usually just updating it in there. Then on the right-hand side, you've got your details, where you can just type up any information relating to this appraisal or supervision that you want to pop in there. There's any notes you've got relating to it, so you can pop into that box, save it, and then that's just saved for the next time you come back. So for future reference, if you ever need to see it. So just think of it like, say, like a notepad page or notes box, just for any additional information relating to the supervision, you can pop it in on there, easily enough. Then you can choose the allocated supervisor. So who's actually done the supervision or appraisal with the staff member. You can do this one of two ways. You can select it from current staff, which is to say the box will be grayed out, but there'll be a little search icon on the right-hand side. You click that. It'll bring up a list of all your staff members in the home. So any other person that has a staff record in this home can then be chosen as the allocated supervisor from the list on here. Or alternatively, you can cancel that. Use your option there to enter a custom name, which rather than selecting from a list, you can just type in the box instead. So this might be if the person who's done the supervision isn't actually a staff record in the home, potentially it could be someone from your head office team who's done it instead that doesn't have a regular staff record in this home, or anyone kind of outside of the home that's done this, you can pop their name in there instead. So completely up to you how you want to do that. I'm going to select for my current staff in this case, because in my staff list I should find, where am I? Myself in there. Select that, and it will autofill in the box there. Then the last bit under there is you've got a couple tick boxes to say for the staff member and supervisor's signature. Essentially just to say that everyone's signed off on this and they're all good of it by all involved. You just tick the box there to say, you know, we've got their signature on this in this regard for it. I can then save that once I've filled out all the details I want, and that will add the supervision onto my list here. You can see the next supervision date has updated in there automatically, now gone to the 5th of June as I wanted it to do. And if I scroll down on my list, I can find in here the supervision added in on there down the bottom. As I say, it does it in descending order, so the most recent one will always be at the bottom of the list. There. So you can see them in there. And you can always reference back any previous supervisions just by clicking in them, checking the details, and any information from them on there, including the details box. So anything you ever need to check for previous supervision, all the details still in there and kept in there forever for any future reference you might have. And depending on your access to CoolCare as well, some people may have access to delete supervision appraisal as well. So if one was added in error that you don't need actually, we can delete it from there or just edit the existing one however you want to do it. So I can remove this one that may have been added in error on mine. Yeah. And that will, like you see there, slightly change my supervision date in there. But I can fix that in here if you bear me 1 second. That should be today's dates. I don't know why it's gone all the way back. I'm going to play my demo system for that. And there. Right. So yeah, that's how you can add appraisal supervisions to your staff member, just using the insert button on the page and then filling out the details of everything that you need relating to it. But the question is, how do I know when I need to do these? As I mentioned on the staff record already, you can see the next supervision and appraisal dates on there, but is there a way I can see these without having to go into each staff member individually? Well, of course there is. I'm glad you asked. So if I go to my dashboard on CoolCare, one of our many dashboard widgets we have that you can have on your dashboard when you log into CoolCare is this one here, Staff Appraisals and Supervisions, which can tell you about any appraisals and supervisions that are coming up soon. And it will sort them one of 3 ways, color coding them respectively on there. It will show you any that are coming up soon within the next week. You can see the white ones in there that are due to be done soon and tell you the due date of when they would be done on that. Any ones that are in orange are due to be done today. There you can see for Amelia, the supervision that should be done today is in there, as well as any that are overdue will show in red. In there you can see the overdue and when that should have been done as well. It will also tell you if the staff member is absent or not. So it might be that this hasn't been done because of an absence. So it will tell you if this staff member is currently absent, so we know why the appraisal or supervision potentially hasn't been done as well in there. But if they're not absent, we can always add in that when it has been done. And you can click on the person's name from the widget. If I click on this overdue one here for Carol, it will take me straight to the staff record and into this appraisals and supervisions page, where we can see what needs to be done. In this case, it was actually an appraisal that should have been done this week. And we can say, actually, we did do it. We just forgot to add it on to CoolCare at the time. So I can add it on now instead. Once again, doing it very much the same way. If I click the insert button at the top of the page, we can then fill out all the details. So appraisal, in this case, rather than supervision, what needs doing. But everything else works exactly the same. The date complete, when it was done. So we can say that was done on Monday. We just forgot to add on to CoolCare, which is why I can luckily do it retroactively. And again, that automatically works out to the next appraisal date. Again, my appraisal is being done every 12 months. It's just saying a year from that date is when the next one should be completed. Again, we can choose the allocated supervisor, either selecting from current staff or entering a custom name. If I show it that way as well, just tick that box and you can just type it in instead, rather than selecting from your staff list. Any details you've got, again, we can pop in on the right-hand side. Just going to pop in that it was added after the fact. Just to say we did it after the fact rather than on the actual day. And then save that in with a couple of signatures as well. And again, that'll pop it on the list there, update the next appraisal date. And once that next appraisal date is updated in there, I go back to my dashboard, you can see it disappears from the widget as well. So yeah, that widget's a nice and easy way to see what's coming up soon, what may have been missed or needs to be done. You can easily see it through the widget there. And like I say, with the core coding, it's even easier to tell what's urgently coming up or what's being missed, etc. in there. Yeah, and it's even easier just by clicking on it to take you straight into the staff member in general. That's so. If I just go to this one from earlier again, just to get her off my list as well, very much the same way as before. Supervision, date complete, and all the details surrounding that. Then we're all up to date with all my supervisions and appraisals in here. There we are. So we've got that completed. That now gives us all of our to be done appraisals and supervisions up to date. The only ones that are in here now are just ones that are left to be coming up soon, instead of the ones that need to be done today. So yes, that's your widget there. Again, if you don't see that on your dashboard, you may just speak with someone in your company that has access to update that for you. They can put that widget on your dashboard, and then you'll be able to see those and keep an eye on them from there. But what if we need to see this in another capacity? You may need to see it for all your staff members or see it in a bit clearer way on there rather than the dynamic widget we have. Well, luckily, there are again some reports that can show us our supervisions and appraisals in different ways as well. So if I go to my staff reports, I'll say a couple of ways we can report on these appraisals and supervisions to see them how we might need to. Now, there's two reports in our main reports that will show supervisions and appraisals in different ways. The first one will show you kind of upcoming appraisals and supervisions or overdue ones, similar to the dashboard widgets. And that is our staff missing information. And this report can collate a bunch of different missing and potentially overdue information in the staff records, one of those being the supervisions and appraisals. If I open that report, there'll be a PDF one in here. And immediately I can see right at the top there, it will tell me about any supervisions or appraisals that are due to be done soon. I think with this one, it's the next 4 weeks, it will tell you in there. So you can see one to be done on the 18th of February, one to be done next week for another staff member in there. But it tells me about any supervisions and appraisals coming up, alongside other stuff in the staff records, such as staff registered professional PIN numbers for nurses, DBS checks, visa expiries, and different things like that. So anything to be aware of on staff records, including the supervision and appraisals, you can see in there nice and easily. A good way to check if anything's due to be coming up soon, a bit further out than just this dashboard widget for a week. So that one's there, and you can download that to your computer or print off a paper copy as well from there. So that's the way to see one side of it. We can also see everyone's historic appraisals and supervisions that they may have done previously in there, using this one here, appraisals and supervised sessions. This one being an Excel report, and it downloads it for all your staff members in one go, including any leavers on there as well. So it'll be essentially any appraisal or supervision in your system, you'll be able to see them all in one go on here. Just bear with me 1 second, as it does take a lot of data, so it'll take a moment to download that and bring it all together. And there it is. So, as you can see, if I load up, it is quite a big report. Scroll down, it will show you actually every staff member, all the appraisals and supervisions they have had previously, including when it was done, which one it was, any notes you had on there as well, and when the next one after that would have been due to be done. So you've got a full history on there, as you can see, for every staff member. Now, clearly, that's quite a lot of data to go through if you want to see it for everyone. But if you want to filter that down, with it being an Excel report, you can do that, of course. Using Excel, I can turn this into a table. As easy as that. And then I've got a report I can filter individually from there. So if I want to see it for just a certain staff member, I can get rid of just to see certain people in there. For example, Amelia, who we just added in a new one. We can see her details on here. Again, it will do sort it in descending order, so you can see the most recent one at the bottom of each staff member on there. But if I want to see a few more staff members, I can do it in different ways. I can do it by their position to show me just all my care staff, for example, carers and my seniors, all of those, all the ones that were done, let's say, this year, last year, potentially, the previous ones. Who did it? If it was a supervision or appraisal, we can see all of that in one go. So actually, show me everyone that's just coming up to be done, has another one to be done this year. And there we are. That essentially gives me the latest supervision that was done for all of my care staff in my home. Give me the details of each one in there. So yeah, well, it is a large report that will give you a lot of information in there to start with. With it being an Excel, you can simply use the options in there to format that, filter it down, and get what you need to out the system. And now, like I say, with it being an Excel, that can be printed off from there if you wanted to get that out on paper. But yeah, nice little reports. Well, I say little report, quite a large one on there. We're giving you all the data you might need in one go from there. Now, if you'd rather not filter it in Excel and you want to kind of do that, want CoolCare to do that for you, there is another way we can kind of see things in there. Specifically looking at the supervision and appraisal dates, you can use our custom reporting options to get that data out of CoolCare instead. So with custom reports in CoolCare, you can create them to look at specific bits of information on staff records. And one of those options is seeing the last supervision appraisal dates and when the next supervisions or appraisals are due to be done with that. And you can filter these custom reports in the system to look at, certain, for example, it might be certain departments or positions in there. Got the options with that. So, for example, I've got a couple in here. I've got one that shows me the next supervision date for all of my staff members. So it'll list all my staff, their position, when the last supervision was done, when the next one is due in there. That's the most recent one being up at the top on there. That's an example of what it can do. Or you can say there are preset filters that can be put on your custom reports. For example, I've got one set up there that shows me the next appraisal for all of my care staff specifically. So then it will show me all my carers under the care department in my home, so seniors, nights, and care assistants in there. Again, showing me their appraisals this time, when the last one was done, if they've had one on there, and when the next one is due. So yeah. And again, these could be printed off, and they can even get Excel versions of those out of the system as well. So yeah, custom reporting in CoolCare can be used if you want to make kind of do that filtering before reports have to be run. That's Remember, only certain people will have access on CoolCare to create those custom reports. So if you check your name in the top right corner, you might see custom reports in there to be able to create those for your system. Once one person's created them, everyone else in CoolCare will have access to see them on their end as well. So yes, plenty of options for reporting on your supervisions and appraisals in there. And that's kind of everything to do with appraisals and supervisions in the system to show you. So yeah. But yeah, honestly, nice bit of kit to use to keep an eye on things from there. Just a couple of things to show you before we go. If I go back to my presentation, of course, if you'd like some additional training on CoolCare to go beyond what we've seen today, anything else you might want to look at on CoolCare, you can get in touch with our training team. And you may be entitled to some free of charge training, which refreshes yearly for all homes. Essentially, you'll have at least two 30-minute free of charge sessions available. You can contact us either email training@coolcare.co.uk, or you can call our team as well, 0113 385 3853, and we can check if you have any training available to book in anything you might want to look at on there. Or if you can get in touch with the rest of our team as well. You can get in touch with the support team for any additional help you might need on CoolCare. You can call them up, 0113 385 3853, or you can email them, support@coolcare.co.uk, or even use a live chat function available within CoolCare itself on there to help you out with anything you might. So any questions you've got or any issues with CoolCare that you come across, anything you've got trouble with, you can contact the support team and they can help you out as well. And for any queries regarding your account, subscription to CoolCare, you can email customer success team regarding that as well. Yes, we are able to help you out with anything you need. And also have to say then for today's masterclass is thank you for attending. And our next masterclass in 2 weeks' time, we'll be looking at our digital visitors book. So if you're interested in that, you can come along for that, and yeah, you'll be able to sign up for that soon, and we'll be able to hopefully see you again in 2 weeks' time. If anyone does have any further questions, I say you can stick around and ask them on the Q&A option. We'll leave this meeting up until past. So anyone wants to ask any further questions, now's your chance. But otherwise, if not, thank you all for joining. Have a nice day, and I hope to see you again soon for our next one.